SEC football. It just means more. Now back to your favorite bearded duo, Todd and Marty.
What's up, ladies and gentlemen? What's up, Facebook? What's up, Spotify? How's it going, YouTube? And anywhere else where you decide to listen to the Under Review podcast. This is episode 40 here with you. I am your host, Todd. Alongside me is my co-host, the sick boy, Marty.
Oh, what's up, guys? I'm fine. I've been on my deathbed for 2 days. I'm finally feeling a little bit better, but we're still here to do the thing.
That's right. I mean, not really much to go over this week, but there has been a couple SEC games, not bowl games, but a couple bowl games, but not playoff games. I would say that has happened since Marty has last spoke to y'all. So we're just gonna get down and get rolling with that. And before we take it to that far, let's take a word from our sponsor.
This episode of the Under Review podcast is brought to you by Chuck's Heating and Air. Chuck has over 40 years of service and experience with residential services. He services most makes and models. He is Alabama licensed, bonded, and insured, and locally owned and operated. Are you hot and you're supposed to be cool? Are you cool and you're supposed to be hot? Then you've got a problem. Call Chuck. Area code 256-892-2757. Again, 256-892-2757. Chuck's Heating and Air.
And as always, we'd like to thank Chuck's Heating and Air for everything that he does for us as well. Give me 1 second as I share the Facebook. All right. Shared. And we'll share. Yep. Well, her too. She's a pretty good singer. But let's talk about it though.
Hey, hold on 1 second before we jump into anything. Today is one of our bearded brother's birthday over at the Dadpod. Well, he's less bearded. He's babyface.
Talking about the naked mole rat?
Yes, Chicken Legs himself is his 29th birthday. Happy birthday, Nick.
Happy Nicholas' birthday, as I said to him earlier. It confused him, so might as well say it on here to confuse everybody else.
Right? I mean, that's not hard around here. But yeah, let's talk about it.
Let's talk about it. Let's see what we got going on.
Go
ahead.
Before we jump in, like I said, me and Cody got to do the pre-show for the bowl games, and kind of just want to get your...
Appreciate Cody for everything that he does, filling in. I appreciate it, Cody. Great insight as well. But just from me to you, thank you. I'm not available for all the shows right now, but somebody's stepping up in that place, and appreciate it, Cody.
So yeah, just kind of want to just real briefly. I mean, like I said, we ain't got a whole lot of games to cover today, so we got a little bit of time for this. So me and Cody went over these, knocked these out. So kind of give us where you stand at these.
All right, 1 second.
And for you who are not watching, who are just listening to on Spotify and however listening, not watching, these are the top 4 quarterfinal bracket games. Number 4 versus number 5, Arizona State versus Texas. Number 1, Oregon taking on Ohio State, which to believe probably the best game of the quarterfinals. Then you jump down to number 3, Boise State, to face the number 6 Penn State, and then the number 2 Georgia Bulldogs versus the number 7 Notre Dame Fighting Leprechauns.
Just a little quick hit. So on Tuesday, there'll be a couple more games. In Alabama, Michigan. SEC-wise, Alabama, Michigan's kicking off at 11 o'clock ESPN. And then later on that day is South Carolina, Illinois at 2 o'clock on ABC. Baylor and LSU will be at 2:30 on ESPN, and then the nightcap will be quarterfinal game 1, which is 6 Penn State versus number 3 Boise State in Glendale, Arizona for the Fiesta Bowl. Still sticking with my tried and true here. I'm going Alshon Jeffrey in this team. Mm-hmm. Penn State did have an electric defense last game. We'll give them that. Sitting at a 65% for Penn State. Understandable. Let's be real. That's understandable. But I'm going Boise State here. I want an upset. I want Boise State to show everybody, hey, we actually deserve to be here. We actually have the true Heisman on our team, which we're not going to talk about that because what a crap show Colorado pulled out last night.
Boy, that was awful, but it was fun to watch, though.
But anyway, you put it to them. But then you flip over. So I'm taking Boise in that 3-6 matchup. So we're just going to have to see. Line's 11.5 favorite for Penn State right now. So they're after their last game, understandable. Let's be real.
Right.
Very understandable of what they did.
If I'm not mistaken, I think both Cody and I picked Boise State as well. I mean, I know we just recorded a couple of days ago, but man, this sickness has got my brain rattled.
And then on Wednesday, on Wednesday, January 1st, Happy New Year. 3 matchups, only 3 games that day, and all 3 of them are our quarterfinal matchup games. The first one will be 5 Texas versus 4 Penn State, or Arizona State, sorry.
Try again.
And the Mercedes-Benz Stadium in Atlanta, Georgia, at the Chick-fil-A Peach Bowl. 12 o'clock on ESPN. Texas is a 12.5 favorite in this game. 79.4% favors for which will be the Bevo-less Horn Frogs.
Try again.
Longhorns. It's a day. But to me, I'm still. Let me go with the Big 12 here in Arizona State. Like I said, I like Levitt. I like Scatterbo. I like what they've been doing this year. But Texas defense might be a little bit better in this situation. So Texas might be the right choice. But I want to make it fun. There's a reason these teams are there.
True.
I mean, there's a reason all these teams are in the quarterfinals. But there's a reason these teams got a bye. Yes, they won their championship. But I want to see Boise State, and I want to see Arizona State win these games. I would love to see Texas because, SEC, not SEC bias or anything. But I would love that. Then the next game is the 8th-ranked Ohio State Buckeyes, the number 1 ranked Oregon Ducks, 4 o'clock on ESPN. So all these games will be on ESPN, so you don't have to change your channel once on New Year's. 2.5 favorite for the Ohio State Buckeyes, who lost this matchup in the regular season. The predictor's sitting at a 53% chance for Ohio State, 46% chance for Oregon. I'm going Oregon here. So mostly because Dylan Gabriel and James, Tez Johnson, these kids have done it all year. They're reason they're 13-0. I don't think Ohio State. Yeah, I think I had Ohio State way back early winning this game, the first matchup. I wasn't big on Oregon being that team.
You admit this Ohio State team is better than the one they played earlier.
Yeah, I agree. But it's weird. Yeah, they're better, but I'm going to flip to Oregon this time. Oregon with that extra rest, sitting out. Dan Lanning has got his ducks in a row.
Technically, yeah, I was about to say the same.
Got his ducks in a row for this one, so I mean, we're just going to have to see how this team works out for. I don't know what that was, but I'm gonna go Oregon here, the number 1 ranked team for a reason. Yeah. So as of right now, I got Arizona State playing Oregon in the semifinals, and then Boise State playing the winner of the next matchup, which will be held at 7:45 on ESPN in New Orleans, Louisiana, in the All-State Sugar Bowl. It's number 7 Notre Dame takes on number 2 Georgia Bulldogs. Notre Dame is favored in this game. 54% say Notre Dame.
Shocking to me.
And it's opened up, and now Georgia is a 1-point favorite though. That's it. It opened up as Notre Dame was a 1.5-point favorite. Now Georgia is a 1.5-point favorite. Understandable. Carson Beck done for the playoffs. Entered his name into the NFL draft. He had 1 more year eligibility, but he said, "I'm not coming back." I don't know. Maybe he should. He's got to work on them interceptions. But Gunnar Stockton, go ahead.
That's what I'm saying. He can work on that. They can make him an NFL quarterback. But I think this could be what me and Cody talked about. This could be Georgia's Achilles right here. Is this Stockton kid? I like him what he done in the last game as he put it to Texas. Come up a little short there, but
No, he didn't. Well, Texas did. He didn't.
Yeah, no, he didn't.
He got his brain rattled. Let me say that.
Yeah,
he don't know where his coconuts were, but
yeah, he might not be able to eat corn for a while, but
mashed potatoes only.
Exactly. But no, I still kind of like Georgia here, but man, Notre Dame,
I say I'm gonna pick Georgia, so I say every team that got a bye is moving on. I don't know why. It's probably not gonna happen. Like I said, Texas probably going to win. Penn State's going to win. That's just how I'm feeling. But Georgia to me is the better team in this matchup. Again, like I said last week, all these games on paper going to be a good game. Now, if the on paper translates to the on field, we will just have to see. Unlike last week.
Right. Well, oh man, me and Cody went on that, but last week that was the worst set of games. They were blowouts and just not really good football watching. And even like some of the bowl games that were on yesterday, again, the BYU Colorado game was a trash game. Now, there were a couple good games. The Boston College Nebraska game was good.
That was a good one.
So before we jump into our ACC games, what are your thoughts on the whole Cam Ward situation at Miami?
Breaks the record and then sits, and then the team loses the game?
Exactly.
So, now, let's be real. Iowa State, not a bad team.
I did like their uniforms yesterday. I like the black.
Like, with the Rocco Beck is not a bad quarterback.
No,
he's done it all year for Iowa State. I'll get around a little bit. Now, in this situation, now we're seeing teams that should have been in the playoffs but are now losing games that they shouldn't have. So I don't understand it. What's up, Peyton Coker? Just commented on the Facebook. But I don't understand it. He just wanted to break the record and then sit. All right.
But to me, that I know like you that just due to the fact of, I mean, yes, you already scored 3 touchdowns. To me, as an NFL owner or somebody like that, you kind of quit on your team.
Yeah.
I mean, do you think Miami had a better chance of winning with him in the ball game with the last minute and a half or so? Yeah. Most definitely. He's
done it all year.
Exactly. So, I mean, yeah, I know he's a senior, this, that, and the other kind of deal, but man, that just rattled me. Because that's what, when Brittany and I were watching the game, we just thought, did he come out hurt or something like that? And then it says no, he was just sitting out because he's going to be a number 3 in the draft, kind of, or a top player in the draft, which I don't like. I mean, this is the whole, I don't say NIL's got anything to do with it, but I mean,
no,
man, to me, you quit on your team.
Yeah, especially one of the best bowl games there is, that Pop-Tart Bowl. I'd love to play in that game. There's mascots, there's Pop-Tarts flying everywhere. The trophy itself is a toaster. The Pop-Tart Bowl is the reason we watch bowl games, all right? Bowl don't mean anything. You ain't watched the Pop-Tart Bowl.
It was pretty silly, but yeah.
It is comedy gold, let's be real.
Yeah. Brittany says, is that a real Pop-Tart that they're eating? I say, yep. She said, that's disgusting.
But no, I mean, like you said, you quit on your team. Even some of these teams that, like Jackson Dart, he has no business playing in this game if he wanted to. But the kid said, I'm playing one last ride with my team.
Mm-hmm. Exactly.
And it's what it is. It's one last ride. Go out. Hey, it's just, you want to win with the boys. Let's be real. You play in your last game, no matter high school, college, NFL, you want it to be a winner.
Mm-hmm.
You want to win. A lot of us have not felt that fate before. I know my last game as a senior was a loss to Cedar Bluff in the first round of the playoffs.
We had Valley Head in 2006, and it was horrible. I still remember it.
It is what it is. And, going back and looking at it, it's like your last college game was a Pop-Tart Bowl loss to Iowa State by 1 point because you decided you wanted to sit out.
And I say, I could understand maybe a little bit more if Iowa State was up by like 3 or 4 touchdowns, but it was a close ball game. You wanted to. So say if that was the first round of the playoffs,
right? Are you sitting out?
Exactly. So see that's kind of, again, I didn't like it. I thought that was disrespectful to his teammates that he has fought with all year, and they've busted their tail for him, and then he quits on them in the second half. And then they lose. They lost all the Pop-Tarts.
All the Pop-Tarts. Before we get going into our next segment, and you go ahead and pop it up on your screen, it will be the SEC bowl game so far. Like I said, we got 4 of them to go through. I did want to hit on a little bit of transfer news. Quarterback Walker White has committed to the University of Baylor. It's going to be a very interesting for the next 2 years. Granted, Auburn goes to Baylor next year. Don't know if he'll probably start or play. But then the year after that, which he probably will, they come to Jordan-Hare. So it's going to be real interesting to see what the Baylor coaching staff does with him if he decides to stay that long. So a little bit of news that just happened.
When the last, I did see that. It'd probably be a good fit. I understand. Auburn is done really good in the transfer portal. Got a lot of new faces coming in. A few guys going out.
But not a lot of big name guys, which is good for Auburn football.
Yeah. I think Keontae Scott.
You can say Keontae Scott, but look at what he actually played this year. Dude was getting burned. They moved him to a different slot. He was out of his nickel spot, was getting burned on deep coverages, just bad coverage. So, I mean, to me, if you're going to move him out of that nickel spot or that dime spot, whichever spot he was in, if you would have moved him back, it probably wouldn't have been a bad season. But with the way he did, okay, I'm not proud. I'm not upset with him as if I was last year with it. Percy Lewis on the offensive line. The only time he didn't want to move first. If you know anything about Auburn and all of their false start penalties, Percy Lewis was your guy. But yeah, for the first time in his all season, he didn't want to move first. So he got later in the
shockingly. But no, I think as far as I was super excited. I mean, just little Auburn. Our 2 freshman defensive backs. They made like the all SEC team or.
we're talking about Jake Rotter and Caleb Harris. Yeah.
Yes, so I think we're trending. One thing I was upset about is that co-defensive coordinator leaving, going to Jacksonville State.
But I haven't heard any word on who they're going. I heard they might hire within. Do what you got to do. I still feel like Charles Kelly there was a great pickup for Jacksonville State. He
most
coached there.
Most definitely.
Been in an argument with that with a couple people, but I feel like it's a great hire for Jacksonville State. And I feel like, hey, he's ready to move on from Auburn. Go ahead. You're a head coach now. You're not a co-defense. You're not a co-anything. You're a head coach.
No, right. And I think DJ Durkin has did awesome from where he stood at Auburn. Right. Did you ever check and see any research on that Cody Burns that I sent you a couple days ago?
No, because he had just signed with South Florida.
Okay. And it might have been clickbait or whatever. But probably. I always liked Cody Burns. He was Auburn through and through. So, well, all right. Let's jump into it.
All right. First game. Whoa. Okay. The first game we'll talk about was the Las Vegas Bowl.
Yeah, these are in no particular.
Nope. If you stayed up for this game, first of all, I give you all the props in the world because before even halftime, I conked out. I was done. Me and Knox, we said we're going to bed. I can't do it anymore. It was a snooze fest at that point. It was 7-7. Yeah, but apparently it got better in the second half. Marcel Reed. Well, first of all, USC beat them 35-31 on a last-second touchdown with 8 seconds to go. Kyle Ford caught a pass from Jaden Mayavia, whatever his name is, to end it. But Marcel Reed didn't have a bad game. 26 for 42, 292 yards, 3 touchdowns, but the 2 interceptions did hurt him. Running the ball hurt him a lot. Couldn't find the run game. Who was their lead? Le'Veon Moss has been out, obviously. So, I mean, I don't know what they lost in the portal. But honestly, shocking to me that USC did pick up this win with Miller Moss not being in that game. I figured that would be But the kid, Jaden Maavia, whatever his name is, 22 for 39, 295 yards, 4 touchdowns. But he also had 3 interceptions of his own. So, really of a turnover battle itself. Like I said, I only watched till halftime of this game, so
that stinks to lose a close ball game right there with so many seconds left on a Hail Mary kind of bomb kind of deal. I know it's got a sting for Texas A&M because they really had a very impressive season.
Yeah, it was 8-4 going in that bowl game, and I mean, had a good chance to have 9 wins, first time since before Jimbo was hired.
Right. So I still give all the props for Texas A&M battling this year in the SEC. I think they did a lot more than we thought they were going to do this year. And looking forward, I mean, if they can, does the transfer portal close soon?
It's closing soon.
I think it was tonight or something, but that's a whole show in itself, that transfer portal. But no, again, congratulations. Okay, so congratulations, Texas A&M, 8-5 record. It's not bad. You went to a bowl game. I think you've got some growing to do, but I think you've got a good quarterback, and you've got a good future. So I mean, next year, I think next year is going to be up for A&M.
It should, with what they got in. Okay, okay. Really should be seeing. And another upside team we're going to talk about here that just won the AutoZone Liberty Bowl was the 6-6 at the time Arkansas Razorbacks beating the Texas Tech Red Raiders 39-26. Arkansas, to me, is about to be on the up. I feel like they could have a better year next year. Figure out the running game a little bit. Taylor Green had a pretty good game passing-wise. 11 passes, right, for 21 attempts for 341 yards on 11 passes. 2 touchdowns.
This is not shot. I mean, this at the end they finished 7-6. We had this team picked at the bottom of the SEC with Pittman being on the hot seat.
Right.
I don't think
this team that I saw early in the season when I went down to Auburn. First of all, didn't expect them to win that game. Never seen them winning 7 games and beating a pretty decent Texas Tech Raiders team inside of a Liberty Bowl with Taylor Green throwing 341 yards on 11 passes. Never saw it.
No, but like I said, I don't think Pittman's going anywhere. I think his signing class is going to help him out. I don't know how well they're doing in the transfer portal, but this is a kind of a big statement win here to close out the year, beating, like you said, a really good Texas Tech team.
Yeah, I mean, it don't matter. Big 12 was a pretty hard conference this year, and you went 8-4. I mean, I say it was pretty hard. They only got one team in the playoff, but the teams that they played, all this whole season, their 4 losses, or their 5 losses, came from Washington State at the beginning of the season, and then they lost to Baylor, lost to TCU. They beat Iowa State, and they lost to Colorado pretty bad. But they even beat Arizona State, this Texas Tech team. So, I mean, not a bad team. So give the props to Arkansas here for doing what they do. And Taylor Green, Rodney Hill at running back, and Braylon Russell, that kid, he can't make up his mind. He said he was in the transfer portal. He said he's out of the transfer portal. Came back in the transfer portal. Went back out of the transfer portal just to play in this game. So I'm pretty sure he's going to be back inside the transfer portal 3 or 4 days. Good pickup. The kid, he ran hard. He had 20 rushes, though, for 50 yards. But he had a lot of runs. So, I mean, I'd want him. But not on Auburn. But if I was a head coach of, maybe not of an SEC team, but somebody that, wants to run the ball really well and got a good offensive line, maybe like an Arizona State when Scatterbo leaves or something like that.
That's good. I'm not saying this, man.
Well, he'll be gone next year, but head on down. Whew, this one right here. This was the Armed Forces Bowl that brought us Oklahoma and Navy. What a game this was. What a comeback from being down 14-0 in the first quarter. And Navy brought it back and scored 21 unanswered points to end up winning the game 21-20.
Yeah, that's when I did flip through it, and I seen that they were up pretty big. And then, like I said, I was taking my medicine and getting some sleepy time. And I flipped it back over, and I said, who won the game? And I looked it up, and I was like, oh, man, that ain't good.
No, it was a good one. But Brett Venables right there at the end of the game really sold it for his team. I mean, any predicament statement, you're going for 2 in this situation. You're down by 1. Kick your field goal, you go overtime. Do you really want to go to overtime in a ball game? No. You want to go home, pretty much.
We were playing Dirty Santa the other day at Aunt Lynn's, and one of the little kids said, "You got to risk it for the biscuit." So,
That's right. I mean, it's a great, honest choice, honestly. But Navy sent an all-out blitz pretty much and got to Michael Hawkins Jr., and that was all she wrote as Navy won 21-20. Michael Hawkins Jr. had a game, 28-43, 247 yards, 2 touchdowns. Sawchuk had 13 carries for 67 yards. But really, who was he throwing to? He had 29 completed passes, but I've never heard any of these kids that he was throwing to for Oklahoma, besides Sawchuk and Jake Rogers. So it's kind of up in there. Ivan Corona, I don't know. Not even going to try it. 7 catches. Yeah, 7 catches, 72 yards. Kip Lewis on that defense had 6 tackles, but no sacks, 4 tackles for losses. I mean, Oklahoma looked like they shouldn't even have been in that game. Navy showed up, showed out for the AAC conference. So really, really, really shocked about that one.
yeah, like I said, they look good, but they just couldn't put it away.
Billy said, "How about the crappy bowl performances from the ACC so far? 1-7, with the only win being Syracuse. Bet they don't get 2 bids next year." Well, probably not. Let's be real. But yeah, I mean, they've had some pretty bad games, with Syracuse being their only bright spot. And a pretty good game, I want to say it was. I don't have it on me right here. But,
Oops.
Well, it's just ACC really killing herself. But next year, Chapel Hill, going to be a good sight to see, I would think.
How much you think that's going to affect their recruiting for Tar Heels?
See, I've been saying this all the time. The dudes are going to go out, get like a 1-star quarterback from Opelika High School or Lincoln, Alabama or somebody, and he's going to win like 4 national championships and 3 Heismans with him. Because the dude knows talent.
Right.
So, I mean, you could, but don't expect North Carolina to have like a really good recruiting class. But do expect them to have a really good football season. Because he knows talent.
Yeah, I definitely can see that. I think it's going to pick up for them. It might not transition in year 1 or 2,
right?
But I think here soon that North Carolina is going to be a big name in football.
Because my thing is, how can you draft a kid in the 7th round that didn't play that much at Michigan? Draft him in the 7th round and win 7 Super Bowls with him. 6 Super Bowls.
Considered the GOAT.
He's a pretty good quarterback.
Yeah, I'm not that's some hunter business right there.
Let's head on down to the Birmingham Bowl, which was a rain delay because it was very rainy that night. Saturday, Sunday, Friday, whoever. I watched it for a little bit, but it was the 7-5 Georgia Tech Yellow Jackets traveling down from Atlanta to face the 6-6 Vanderbilt Commodores. And is it just the Birmingham Bowl now?
Yeah, it's just the Birmingham Bowl.
It's not the BBVA Tax Slayer.
No, Slayer. No, that's a different bowl. We've seen that one. The Big Motors Tax Slayer.
That Nebraska game.
Yeah, Brittany said, "What is that?" I said, "I don't even know."
Maddie thought it was lettuce on his head, so.
Well, I mean.
Right. But it's just the Birmingham Bowl now, held at
Progressive.
Yep. Stadium, home of the UAB Blazers. Georgia Tech drove that little far to only get showed up by Diego Pavia and his magic. 13 for 21, 160 yards passing, 3 touchdowns for him. But on the ground, he had 17 carries, 84 yards, and 2 touchdowns for Diego Pavia, who is coming back next year.
Yes, sir. I'm excited. Well, see, I mean, he's kind of really changing college football with that judge ruling about the
JUCO players.
The JUCO players. But did you watch any of this game?
I did. I watched it till the rain delay in the 4th quarter.
They said they had a couple of scuffles during this game.
A couple.
A little fisticuffs, what have you?
A couple. They were playing physical. Which, if you look, like Brandon said in our group chat, these are 2 of the most.
Get it?
Yeah.
I seen your hat spinning.
Yeah. Best quarterbacks like you want. Like they're going to get you yards. They're going to fight. They're going to play the game. And if you watch any of the game, that's right. That's fighting for every single yards. Get hit, come up, backflip, whatever. Like it didn't even phase them. But Hayes King and Diego Pavia put on a game that anybody would want to watch.
Right.
And I was glad to watch it. It got a little close near the end. Georgia Tech scores. It was pretty bad. It was 31 to something. 31-13. And Georgia Tech in 5 minutes, less than 5 minutes, scored 2 touchdowns to get it to 27-35. So it was a good game.
Well, at the end of the day, Vandy finishing with 7 wins is totally the furthest thing that you and I talked about on the first couple of shows that we had. Again, Clark Lee has done an amazing job. I think he's got a lot coming back. He's got Pavia Magic coming back. I think that's going to be a lot for recruiting around the Tennessee area for him. I think he can get some more players. I think it's going to bring up more lights on Vandy. And I think they're trending up. I'm not saying they're bumping up, but they're trending up.
Well, one of my things is going to Vandy, okay? You're going to play at an SEC school. You got that. You're going to play a pretty good schedule because you're not as good as some of these other teams before this year. Let's start before this year.
Mm-hmm.
Coming in, you're not going to play that many good teams. You're going to play good teams. You're not going to be the best. You're going to take some bumps along the way. But now, you're coming to Vandy. You're going to get a good, if you care about it, a good degree, one of the best.
Mm-hmm.
You're going to play good football. And now you're going to be on a team that's actually good, bumping mid-pack of the SEC.
Right.
Start bowl eligibility every year. Looking forward now, that's going to help the SEC because that just throws in one more team that's going to be good. That there's no more freebies besides Mississippi State unless they get good. Speaking of Mississippi State, they got one of the best running backs in South Alabama this past week, Fluff Bothwell.
Oh, Fluff went to.
Yep, that's going to be good. I know they got some other pieces, but when we ever get some time, we'll jump down the whole rabbit portal of the transfer portal probably during the off season when we do the everything. But good pickup for Mississippi State. They're going right now. Really proud of them. So hopefully they can turn around with Fluff on that team. Finally having a running back because this year they didn't really have one, which hurt them. So having Fluff Bothwell on that team to me is a really good pick. So hopefully there will be no freebies next year in the SEC.
No. Well, before we close out this, just congratulations to Vandy. They really excel everything. And looking for a better and a bright future for Vandy as we jump on.
Yeah, let's see what we got next. And it is our best all-time logo tournament. Had Kentucky this past week. 70s, Cat in the State. 80s, the old school retro kitty. 90s, the faded blue. And then the darker blue. And what's that drum roll at? All right.
Hold up. The wrong one.
Boom.
I was showing the.
There it is. The kitty. Which to me it's one of my favorites. I'm really glad that this one actually won. I do like the UK itself, but it's just retro logos to me are the favorite, and I'm glad they're winning in this tournament because it's going to make the tournament so much better as we go along through it. But the cat from the 80s, right?
Oh, yes, this is the 1980s kitty logo.
Yeah, one of my favorites.
So we're going to jump into the next team, which this is probably the most logos we've had for one team, probably besides Arkansas. I think Arkansas has 7, but I think this is 9 or 10. The graphics aren't the best. Right, the graphics aren't the best because they were glitchy everywhere I found them. But I like these. You look at that 1950s, which, like we said, a lot of teams were doing that back in this back in this. But look at that. I'd never even seen this 1980s logo. That's kind of cool.
That's pretty cool. I like it. The block letters on the top, LSU, and then Tigers like on the underglow of it, or where the shadow would be. Just put Tigers on. Pretty good. I think, to me, my favorite is this early 2000s LSU Tigers.
Yeah.
That, to me, old school LSU.
Was that Nick Saban LSU?
Probably. If I'd had to guess. Maybe. But to me, that one in the 70s logo, to me, is one or two of my favorites. 60s logo could have done a little bit better on the Tiger. If not, that would have been a pretty good logo. But the 70s, the early 2000s, and the late 2000s itself, all three great logos. Block lettering, to me, is just old school.
Like you said, I like the early 2000s and the 90s because it's got that script writing on the bottom of it.
Yeah. I mean, if LSU could do something, I just don't like plain letters. Like, it's LSU. Got it. Cool. Throw a tiger in there or something. Like, the early 2000s, to me, is one of the best logos there is. I like it.
I like that. There's a lot going on there, but it's a lot to like. It's not doing too much.
Plant that put that on the 50-yard line, though.
I don't know. I like that big tiger right there in the middle of the field.
That is pretty cool. All right, I give you that one. But I don't know. But the poll will be up sometime tomorrow. Probably about the time the episode drops.
I can probably get it out tonight, maybe. For Facebook.
Yeah, get on Facebook. I'll get it to everywhere else. But the poll will be out. Make sure you check it out. We're going to post it in some other groups. But always remember, I want to thank everybody. But before we do that, make sure you like and subscribe and comment on the YouTube channel. As always, have a good one. But now...
Thanks for making the call to go under review. Join us next time as we go to the monitors. Until then, keep your flag handy.